1968-69 would bring a lot of change to the University of New Brunswick, and it would all start here at the Harriet Irving Library in September of 1968. Led by faculty member Norman Strax, a small group of students would protest the implementation of ID cards. As a result, the students attempted to sign books out without their cards. They were refused, and after repeated attempts, the library would be closed. The following week, Strax would be suspended from UNB by President Colin Mackay, a move that would see Strax and his followers take further action. While the demonstration would begin at the Harriet Irving Library, it would lead to this room in Bailey Hall, room 130, Dr. Strax's office. It would soon become known as Liberation 130. Up to 20 students would be involved at one time or another in the sit-in. Eventually, Fredericton police would be called in on the Remembrance Day long weekend, and the supporters would be removed after over a month in the office. UNB professor Peter Kent is currently writing a book on the Strax affair. He says the event marked a period of change not only on campus but also off, especially surrounding the election of Premier Louis J. Robichaud.
Particularly in Fredericton, where the main newspaper was strongly against Robichaud and what he was doing. And one person who worked at UNB even talked about Fredericton at the time of Robichaud being like Dallas just before Kennedy was assassinated, that the feelings were like that. So I think one element was that when the students started acting up on campus, this was just another sign of the kind of change that was taking place in the 60s. There were a lot of people who were really uptight about this.
While initially students and faculty members didn't pay much attention to the events, that soon changed.
I mean, in September when it started, most people, and particularly most students, thought these guys are crazy and had no time for what was going on. Partly because Strax, in the a couple of years before this took place, had been very active in trying to encourage opposition to the American participation in the war in Vietnam. And he and some followers had set up tables in the student union, and they'd had pamphlets and tried to encourage people this way. And students would come along, just tip the tables over and throw the pamphlets around. So nobody took him seriously. When he did this, they thought the guy's crazy.
Especially the university faculty, who may not have agreed with Strax, but did feel the university was overstepping its boundaries in suspending him.
And the faculty association were concerned about the fact that Strax had been suspended, and they wanted to make certain that he received a fair hearing before, if he was going to be let go. So they insisted that the university set up an impartial arbitration committee to interview Strax. The university president refused to do that. So the faculty association went to the national organization, the Canadian Association of University Teachers, and they got into the act, and they tried to bring the power of the National Faculty Association to bear on the university.
The intervention by the CAU team would eventually lead to the university being censured, a measure that saw the university lose any form of academic credibility it had nationally.
They told faculty that no faculty members were to accept jobs at UNB until UNB accepted what they wanted. Big discussion here, and the question came to the Board of Governors at its meeting in March of '69. Before that meeting, there was a lot of agitation, there was a lot of preparation, and at that meeting, which I believe was the 15th of March in '69, there was a large demonstration outside the old Arts Building, because the board met inside the old Arts Building. They burned the Board of Governors in effigy, and they tried to make a fuss because they wanted the board to approve of the binding arbitration. And the board discussed it, and eventually they agreed, and they went along with it.
The Strax affair would eventually end here at the old Arts Building. As for the professor, he would continue to live in the Fredericton area before eventually moving to the United States. Unfortunately, poor health prevented us from talking to him. For Focus MB, I'm Trevor Kerr.